everyone just thinks that I can now just play myself. But I did want to break that. I wanted to prove to people that, you know what, give me a script and I will do my best.
Let's be a gangster in lifetime once.
So ये exchange
मेरा common man चल रहा है.
Welcome to all of you. It's wonderful to have all of you on Film Companion.
Thank you.
It's incredibly exciting and slightly surreal to be sitting, around a table with the actors responsible for what I think are some of the finest performances of the year. So thank you all for being here. It's been a slightly disappointing year for Hindi cinema. I think everyone would agree. It's, in terms of the level of storytelling, the kinds of stories we've been offered. And one thing I've been shouting about for the longest time is how today the finest Hindi language storytelling, talent performances are all on streaming shows. And I think all of you are a shining example of that. And I'm so grateful to have you all here. And Kathir, I'm so glad you could be here as well to discuss Suzhal as well, because it really is one of the finest shows of the year. And of course, one of the first Tamil original shows as well. And I will butcher the pronunciation, sorry. So, you'll have to bear with me.
It's surreal.
Okay, yeah. I'll still get it wrong, but I appreciate the I want to start with a quick icebreaker. For all of you, what is the most frustrating piece of direction an actor can receive?
I think once for me, a director asked me if I was listening. And I got very offended. I said, if you think I'm not listening, I should not be doing this job. I'm 100% listening. And I felt like the director felt that while listening, I wasn't making any of those faces.
Yeah.
So the director wasn't sure if I was listening because I was listening like this.
So you didn't have the right listening face?
Yes. So now I listen like this. Are you guys convinced that I'm listening?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yes.
What about the rest of you? What's the most frustrating piece of direction in acting?
I think frustrating piece of direction could be, it's not always the case, but it could be when the directors are so fed up of explaining something to you which you're not getting, which you're not right at, and then they have to act it out for you. And that's not the worst part of it. The worst part is that they say that something like this needs to be done. Do it your way. But what happens by that time is that you're already stuck with what they've done, what they've performed for you, and then you cannot get it out of your head. And that is also not required by them. So it becomes a little complicated then. Otherwise, I truly believe that direction is a very, very tough job. It's a very tough job, and they have my whole sympathy, empathy for them. But this can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
I wish I could be as honestly diplomatic as that.
Try.
I have got something like when the directors try to explain how your face reaction should be, and after a dialogue, he asked me to close the mouth. I was like, after telling your dialogue, your lip is open, but he wanted my mouth to be closed. I was trying for 2 shots. I was thinking like, okay, I may be wrong. After that, I just went to the director, can you just do and show me once? So I'll just sit in the monitor, can you just do and show me once? Then he said, then they recorded it and it was open. Then he understood, okay, let's go in the flow.
That's very clever, man.
Yeah,
I'll try to do it.
I was not able to get after like 2 takes. Then I became very conscious. Then that was one thing.
Masaba,
Oh
what about
gosh, I think I'm probably the one who's done the least amount of work here. But I have to say, any director that just tires you out unnecessarily, because I've just discovered how physical a job acting is, as mental as it is. It's a very physically taxing thing. And I just think that sometimes directors just keep going and don't save up your energy for the best, if you know what I mean. So I think that just not being able to conserve an actor's energy for the bigger stuff that's probably coming at the end of the day or at some point in the day, and just going on and on with something that you've got, but you just keep pushing it. So I just think just respect for an actor's energy and the mind space that they're in. I feel like that is very frustrating.
And being aware of, I guess, the energy you're taking from them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Geetanjali, what about you?
I actually, I listen to the director always. I'm a director's actor, I feel. But at the same time, I'm from theatre, so I need to do a lot of rehearsals. and when somebody doesn't rehearse, I feel very frustrated. And also when there is time pressure, light जा रही है, you have to do it.
वो तो हमेशा
The
होता है,
anxiety-
लाइट या तो जा रही होती है या आ रही
आ
होती
रही
है.
होती है, हाँ.
I love the collective sigh.
I know.
I really feel very pressured at that time because as an actor I need time, you know. I think maybe all these are younger actors, but I'm very slow. I do a lot of rehearsals and I need that time, and when that pressure comes, I'm always, I get anxious and I'm not sure whether I'll be able to deliver it or not. So,
And
yeah.
the most important shot will be taken during the 6 to 6:30 time.
Yes, yeah, why?
Magic light.
The magic
It's like
light,
you have
golden
2
hour.
minutes to cry.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You're lucky you get 2 minutes.
I know, right?
I was watching an actors roundtable in Hollywood, and the answer that everyone always gave was, "Can you do it, but do it different?" You know, there was no like, just do it different.
Yeah.
No, there's another thing that that was a great shot. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
One more.
But one more.
One
Safety.
for safety.
Safety.
Safety from what?
That's a great word I've learned.
I also want to ask all of you about the art of crafting chemistry with your co-actors. You know, Geetanjali, with you, with Gullak, it is such a wonderfully warm show about this family and the kind of chemistry the four of you share in a very sort of sweet slice of life drama is electric. You really feel like four different limbs of a single body. You know, Ishwak, even with you in Rocket Boys, it's this massive, ambitious show about these two brilliant minds and what they did. But at its core, it really is a story of friendship between your character and Homi Baba. You know, it's a story of brotherhood over decades. It's a human story. And Masaba, even with you, with Modern Love Mumbai, I Love Thane, your sort of segment within that, even though it's Saiba's story, that story really hinges on us buying into your connection with Hrithik Bhomik's character. So I wanted to ask all of you, what's the art of creating that sort of chemistry with your co-actor on shows that really rely on bringing relationships to life in this way?
As far as Gullak is concerned, the whole credit goes to TVF team because they give a lot of time of preparation. So we rehearse a lot. Since our first season, we rehearsed for 10 days. So that time I think was the bonding time. And also we rehearse our lines very well. It's like a theatre rehearsal because we are by heart with our lines because it has to be, you know, a banter. It cannot have pauses and, you know, I take my own time, and that cannot happen because it's been written in a certain way. It has a style of its own. So that rehearsal is needed, and fortunately the creators believe in rehearsals. Fortunately the actors also give time. So that I think brought the bond between us. I think that is what gives us all the energy and that bond.
It really feels like four characters almost like completing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
You really feel that family feeling.
Yeah.
Ishwak, what about you?
I think it's the foundation that you build. You know, once you have that, then and I think it's always like it's best that you don't really have a set way of doing things. Certain scenes you just might want to go and organically do it because you know it resonates with you. It's like a knockoff from your life or what you've experienced. Some things you really need rehearsals, like there were scenes where Jim and I are going on about science and, you know, betrayal and all of that. So, and of course it's also the way it's shot, long, steady shots, almost like a play performance. So, but you know, at the heart of it, it's just once you know your character, once you have that foundation, place him in any situation, whether it's with Jim, whether it's been with, you know, other actors, Regina, personal, scientific, whatever. If you've got your set things, you know, you build your foundation, then it's just like, you know, putting up 3 stories, 4 stories. I give you an architectural analogy. It just works, man. It comes.
Masaba, what about you?
You know, Dhruv, who directed I Love Thane, we rehearsed a lot. I mean, I was like, this is a short film. And why are we rehearsing so much? And I remember I said, okay, I think I should just go with what he's saying because he knows this better than I do. And I played out each scene that was with Parth, with Dhruv. And interestingly, I never met Hrithik until the day of the first shoot. And I was a bit nervous because I did like, you know, little rehearsals with all the other guys who had cameos and shorter parts, but nothing with Hrithik. And I didn't know anything about what he'd be like. And, I'm this new actor. It was freaking me out. But Dhruv and I, we just went at it every single day until we went on to set. So by the time I got onto set, I was already in love with Parth, And I already knew that, oh my God, this is the man that I want to end up with. I went in feeling like that, and that is obviously a byproduct of all those rehearsals. And I remember in each rehearsal, Dhruv said, you're not giving it to him. You're not supposed to give it to him at any point. You're not supposed to make him feel like you're vulnerable, but you are. The beauty of Saiba's character is that she's so vulnerable. She is who she is. But you can't give it to this guy because he's your guy, So I remember we did it so many different ways. But I remember thinking to myself that, okay, today is the day Ritwik's going to be on set. And it had been 5 days since we were filming already. And I was like, what if he's just like a nasty guy? Because I didn't know Ritwik, but I love Ritwik now. But yeah, what if he's just like not nice to me, He thinks that here's a designer who's got this opportunity and I have to act with her, But I went in there and I said, I'm going to be my warmest, best self. I'm going to pretend I already love Ritwik comic and I'm going to drop my guard. And I think that chemistry and just making sure that magic on screen happens is a lot with dropping your guard and dropping your ego as an actor, I think. Because there was a time when I was shooting for Masaba, and I remember I had to do this scene where I was making out with an actor that I didn't particularly like. Sorry, guys. Controversial, but yeah. And I said, what am I going to do to just get this through, And I just dropped my ego and I said, you know what? He's probably as nervous or as irritated or as upset with this opportunity, whatever. You know what I mean? I just think that I decided to put myself in his shoes and I was fine. So I think dropping your guard, dropping your ego, your creative ego is possibly a big part of just making that chemistry happen.
It certainly worked. I Love Thane, I really think is arguably the most touching love story of the year. So,
yeah,
so I'm glad.
Thank you.
Kathir, what about you?
I've not been used to rehearsals, and for me, when I rehearse too much of the lines, I get stuck because if one word misses, then I get stuck there. So I generally don't rehearse the lines, but I try to understand the mood and what the co-actor also thinks and all this, and I also try to bring the bond what I have on screen and off screen also. With Shriya, who have done Regina. She is actually a very tough person. And the only person whom she loves on set is me. And we had the balance between, there's also love on set, right? But also she's stubborn in her thing because his son is the priority. So we share the same kind of a bond on screen, off screen. And I think I'm the only one who shared the same bond.
Amit, what about you? I spoke to Somendra, who directed Jamtara, and he said
What
that...
did he say?
He said, he said you're a terrible actor. No, he said you always took care of all the younger actors, and playing scenes with them, with you. He said it was always like playing tennis. So yeah, what goes into creating that sort of bond?
Yeah, I think there's not just one method to get it. It is all very circumstantial. So, for example, sometimes if you don't get time for rehearsals, then you start building off the chemistry off screen more than you build it on screen. So you hang out with each other, drink your coffees, teas, maybe a couple of lovelies in the night, stuff like that. Just be normal with each other. Just try and know each other as people. And if you have time for workshops, then there's nothing like it. And mostly workshops are actually about knowing each other rather than rehearsing the lines and how will I do this scene and making maps in your head. I don't think it's about that. And then like the dictionary meaning, this I got to learn from Mr. Nasiruddin Shah. Dictionary meaning of act is to do.
Yes.
When you don't have time for workshops or building up off screen, you just do what is written. Don't think about it too much. And I think you will get that natural part of it, organic part of it, through the process of doing it. So, obviously you're working for the screen. So you need to devise ways to get the organicness of it on screen.
And don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. I usually preferably like to go unprepared. I don't want to prepare too much. I do my acting as life is, which happens there and then. But then there are some things that you have to prepare for, like your technical part of it, just jargons and stuff like that. But
I think, as you say, it depends on the genre also.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah.
Taj Mahal 1989, I didn't have to prepare because the character was so close to me.
Yeah.
But for Gullak, I have to because the lines are written in such a way that it's
there's
a
a
meter.
there's a rhythm
there's a
to
style,
it. Yeah,
there's a
rhythm.
meter in that. If I change it, it won't sound the same. So I think it
Like when I did Maharani, I had to follow that rhythm. It was
yeah.
it was one of the most difficult things I've done, because not only you are playing a politician, they have a certain style to them, a certain approach towards life, which is why they are what they are, you know. And then there's in the writing, it was like it was written in very prose-like manner, you know.
There is a rhythm to the dialogue of that.
Yeah, so you can't. Like, I like to improvise and everything, but my hands were tied, and the director wanted my hands to be tied so that I don't wander away from what was written, because every line had some meaning to it. So yeah, it was good experience to do that.
I think it was so precise the
Yeah.
way you have performed. That precision worked.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
You know, even the
So then you
expression.
have to bind yourself. You know, you can't just be free all the time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're swearing. Those are some of the best.
I didn't swear much in Maharani.
Maharani, there is.
No, I did not.
He's keeping a track.
Shriya, I really want to come to you about the incredible year that you've had. You know, you have not only you're not only in a position where you've led a lot of projects this year. You know, there was Broken News and Guilty Minds. You were also excellent in them, especially in Guilty Minds as Kashif Kaze. But you've spoken about how after Yash Raj's Fan, didn't do the numbers, a number of projects fell through for you, and then you spent the next few years really working on so many projects, so many shows and films in largely, supporting roles. So what kept you going through that time? And did you always know that you were going to get to a point like this where you would get your due?
You have to have that belief. I think without that belief, you won't be motivated. So yes, I did feel like there will be a script and a character that will call out to me, and I'll be seen for what I think I'm capable of. But coming from a family of actors who've been in the industry for so long, forget anything else. I think they have emotionally equipped me to understand that this is the nature of the industry and the business.
Yeah.
You can give your 2000% and a project may not do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is a certain sense of enjoying the journey, not just spiritually for the sake of it, and then to detach yourself and not to somewhere attach your self-worth to the outcome of the projects. This is something that I actually believe in. And in terms of my first Hindi film, I mean, could it get any bigger? Shah Rukh Khan playing his love interest, although sadly my character was friend zoning him. I still feel very bad about that in Fan. While the film was appreciated for trying something new, the film didn't do the usual YRF numbers. And I, at that point, did not have any idea about the PR game or of how to blow myself up before my first film, be on covers of magazines before, how the way things are done. So for me, I thought it's going to be organic. A part of it was because I didn't overly hype myself up before that. But I realized then that just acting well is not enough.
Yeah.
It's many things at the same time. You're building a perception. Today, a lot of it is also about perception. However, I'm of the belief that only perception building is not going to get you anywhere, because you do see a lot of people only focusing on that.
Correct.
So my only thing was that I have to keep working on my craft. I was enjoying all the auditions I was giving, and I stopped stressing about this auditioning process. I stopped wondering, am I going to get it? Am I not going to get it? I was enjoying it. In fact, when my audition when the Mirzapur audition came my way, I enjoyed that audition so much. I came back and I said to my mom, I said, you know what? I don't even care if I don't get the part, because I enjoyed playing this character of Sweetie so much, and lo and behold,
Auditions are
well, I'm really happy that I got the part. But the truth is, मुझे बहुत मजा आया. And if you look back, there's always a pattern. You see the way things have unfolded, and for me, they always unfold when I don't overly obsess in my mind about something. But yes, while something like a Mirzapur gave me that pan-India fame, this year, Guilty Minds was something that made me feel seen as an actor, because it was my first time where I got the opportunity to really sink my teeth into a part.
Yeah.
To be Kashaf, to, since you were speaking about chemistry, for me it was not just creating chemistry with Varun's character in a romantic way, but with Sugandha, who's my friend, who's also a lawyer. I think just the opportunity to live so many different emotions and to bare your soul for so long, that's what a series gives you.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful. And even with Broken News, to work with Jaideep, to work with Sonali. So this year especially, in a way, I feel like it's a new chapter for me.
No, but you really were so good in both of those. I mean, you play these very righteous characters who, you're always fighting for the underdog. And it's not always easy to make that person engaging, and they really feel like complex people,
Yes.
and that's to your credit.
And I want to add something. Sometimes the fear is also that when you're playing, especially in my case, when I've had a year where both these hits have been slightly virtuous characters, you wonder, are you going to be stuck with the good girl parts? So immediately now what I'm doing with Bhuvan Bam, I'm playing a sex worker who is super fun and she's a good bad girl, and
इसकी कुछ और difficulty चल रही, मेरी कुछ
आपकी opposite
मेरी
difficulty चल
opposite
रही है.
difficulty
I want to talk to you about your difficulty. You really have spent this year playing, and a lot of the last few years, playing these despicable people, the kind of characters we love to hate and hate to love. Especially in Maharani season 2 and Jamtara as well. But Naveen Kumar from Maharani and Brijesh Khan from Jamtara are very different people. But what goes into bringing different shades to characters who feel quite similar on paper?
Good question.
I think it is. So the trivia is that I was working simultaneously on Jamtara and Maharani. So I was shooting for it together, and this was like a nightmarish question in my head also, that what if I start borrowing from each other, the different characters. But it did not happen, man, because it's just a simple, commonsensical belief system that you need to instill in your head and switch on that idea that first of all they are not same people. This right now it was a little more difficult because Jamtara also veered into politics. So I said, shit, I mean, both are politicians, this and that. And then when I started deducing from it, he's an MLA, this guy is bigger, this guy is this. So when you start deducting, then you start seeing two different people, and you need to, and then as a creative, as an actor, you need to tell yourself that what is it about these two people that is not you. Then it becomes even more easier.
But just to give you an idea of the kind of year Amit has had, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been campaigning all year. Your character in Maharani won the election, and 2 weeks later Jamtara released and your character lost the election. So it's been highs and lows this year.
I don't overthink.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Next, as Mr. De Niro said, what's next?
What's next? Yeah.
And Kathir, with you, in Suzhal, your character Sakurai is obviously a cop, of a very small town. But it's interesting because you really play with the idea of the typical movie cop. The typical movie cop is either very righteous, very corrupt, or tortured and very sad. And it was very interesting how you really felt like a human being. He really is. He's just this guy from a small town who feels like he knows everyone there, knows the people and the place. But then when there's a series of gruesome murders, it forces him to question everything he thought he knew. So what were the kind of conversations you had with Pushkar Gayatri, the writers and creators, about not making him a template cop and making him a human being?
Actually, we were just concentrating more on the graph from the first season, from the first episode till the 8th episode. There's a graph of Chakrai which the audience also follows with him. So to find the initial first 3 episodes or 2 episodes, how this character is going to start with, that was a little trickier because the first 4 episodes been directed by Brahma. We were talking a lot like how it can be portrayed. We were sure like we are not going to portray the usual cop, stronger, or a Okay. But we were like so keen on how this graph is going to be, and there's a slight, what to say, he has an attitude.
Yeah.
He's a small attitude which should not overdo, because he's young. He's young. He can't just go overdo the same thing to the people who are elder with the power. So it's a balance, and it is also like finding the criminal inside our own house. It feels like that for him, because everyone he knows. And also he feels that the total thing is under his control. He knows everything. He can solve anything and everything. So as episodes go, it's like learning from it. So this was the main thing, was like how the start point is going to be, because we got to know how the end is going to be. So how the start of the graph was difficult, but we figured out from the director's thing.
I really think the triumph of that show and your performance as well is it is a murder mystery, and you obviously, it's a whodunit, you're constantly calculating who the killer is, but eventually the crime and the murder becomes secondary. You really are so invested in these characters, these people, their relationships, and you feel the show, you feel these people and the humanity, and sort of the murder comes second, which I thought really is the triumph of that show. And Masaba, with your character Saiba in I Love Thane, I spoke to Dhruv Sehgal, who's obviously the writer and director. And he said that it was very difficult to cast the role of Saiba. He said that most actresses he approached said the script was either too normal and they didn't consider it a glamorous enough role. But he said that Masaba really got it and got the layers of it. She acted without any vanity. You can tell when an actor is doing something for the camera, but she only did things for the character and had no insecurity about how she'd appear. And she also had to portray a character on a very neutral note. She's a very normal person with no grand, high emotions, while still, needing to be engaging. And it's a difficult ask, and she did a brilliant job. So what drew you to Saiba and this story, which is such a sort of, it's not the massive, feel-good love story. It really is so subdued, but it still makes you feel so much.
I have to say, Sachin, that because this is not my day job, I probably don't think like other actresses, and I don't say this in a negative way. I know what it takes to think like a regular actress, and it's a lot. It can be very taxing. I've seen it with my mother for years. But I do think that the reason I said yes was because, one, I really wanted to do or play a fictional character before season 2 of the reality Netflix show came out. Because I said, everyone just thinks that I can now just play myself. But I did want to break that. I wanted to prove to people that, give me a script and I will do my best. I will try and do my best. So this was more, I would say, an act of rebellion more than anything. I Love Thane. But I had the same, or I would say similar reaction. I said, this is so straight-laced. There's no highs, there's no lows, there's no nothing. And I'm an aggressive person. I'm someone who has very heightened reactions to things. I have a temper. And Saiba was just like this, flatlining. And I remember Dhruv saying, no, downplay it. And I said, but she's just been stood up, How am I supposed to downplay it? There was one scene we were shooting in a little bar, a hole in the wall in South Bombay. And I had to just look into my phone because I'd been stood up yet again by a potential date. And it's the part where I take the gajra off and the camera is just sort of zooming in on my hair. And he said, I don't want anything to move except there should be that one tear that just falls out of your eye. And I'm like, it's 3 a.m., man.
You have 2 minutes to kill.
You should have spoken about that when you asked the question.
I know, right?
What is the
That's
fascination?
Just
There's some, all directors have fascination with this just
Just
one tear.
One tear. Perfectly falling.
He said,
What is
"Hey,
perfectly
bada
falling?
tough."
Like just this,
Straight.
That's it.
The drop should be visible to camera. It's not just.
And I forgot because, I'm not, like I said, I'm not used to it. I forgot that there'll be 3 different angles. And I said, shit, I gave it my all in the first take. And I remember I just had to be still. And I think Saiba's greatest strength was her stillness. The fact that she was so different from who I am as a person. And the fact that she had to probably display so much emotion without saying much, without raising her voice. Just that, the fact that she could say so much without really spelling it out was really something.
It really is one of those roles where it's not you don't have much to do, you really just have to be.
Yeah.
And despite that, you make us feel so much.
Thank you. I do think that at some point I felt, am I doing too little? You know? And I think as an actor, you're like, I want to perform. But this is also performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
right?
Yeah.
And so much harder.
Yeah.
And I think just not being that, like, I have this thing, I want to do an item song, okay, guys? Do not judge me, but
You
yeah.
had the Masaba music video, does that not
I
count?
might, yeah, I had that.
Yeah, that was a great item song,
I
Masaba.
know. I shouldn't say item songs, those are not particularly liked right now. But yeah, I just wanted to be like, you know, that singing, dancing heroine. I was like, I want to play that. And then Saiba came my way. I said, but this is the opportunity that will lead to the other opportunities. So I think I saw that for what it is.
But you know, I think the beautiful thing, and I don't know if you felt that because you say she was so different from you.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think that when we play these parts very far from us, you kind of take the good things and it does become a part of your personality, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
it is already
did.
inside of you,
Yeah.
man.
Go ahead.
You know, and,
Yeah,
you,
you've just-
and you open the doors.
like
And
a
this is
dormant
another
virus.
thing why I consider all good actors half mad. Because they will turn
Prerequisite.
into a mad person.
But we're very thankful for all of your madness. But you know, Ishwak, in terms of playing people who are very different from you, you know, something I spoke to Abhay Panu, who's your, you know, writer and director of Rocket Boys, and he said, they say you shouldn't kill yourself for a role, and I feel like that saying was created for Ishwak Singh. The amount of prep he puts into a role is almost unhealthy and scary sometimes. But as a director, I'm not complaining because he performs so well.
कौन सा कैमरा है?
So tell us a bit about this sort of unhealthy preparation that
No,
goes
it's
into
not unhealthy. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's something that I was used to since the day I started. Even if I was doing one scene in a film, or you know, just doing just standing in the background on stage. I used to do a lot of plays. It's just part of the reason why I do the job is because I get to learn about a different culture. Patal Lok, you know, the policing. So I got a chance to go and hang out with the cops and get to know that world. You also empathize, you know about a new culture, a new profession, and it opens your mind in a way that I don't think any other, I would have been, I think, lost if I wasn't an actor. It just gives me so much, it's brought me closer to reality, to myself. It's all of that. For instance, I did read about rocket science, but I know the basics of it. I mean, I'm no rocket scientist by any yardstick. I was aware of what goes into preparing for UPSC. I don't know I know the contents of it. I don't know the nitty-gritties, the in-depth. I don't have an in-depth knowledge when I was preparing for Patalo. So it's the writing, man. It sends you to these places, and that's liberating because sometimes I find myself, even though I'm doing back in the day I was doing a film called Tummin 2. And I ended up reading Nadeem Maslam for that because he talks about displacement of people, in honor killings and all in the West. So, yeah, it's all connected, and you just follow that gut, that instinct, and go with the flow. It gives something. That's the magic of it. You know, always gives something, and sometimes it's not immediate or direct, but it comes later at some point.
So it's therapy.
Yeah,
I think
it
for
is.
actors,
It's
it
meditative.
is our spiritual journey.
Yes,
actually.
Yeah.
It's a
absolutely.
transcendental
It is.
pursuit for sure.
I was preparing for War Room, which is an anthology on COVID, which I think released in this February. So when I was doing that, it was a short film. But for 4-5 days, I cut off myself with my family. Of course, my shooting hours were also very hectic. Like, you know, we were shooting in the mornings because we wanted to show that COVID time. But it really helps, as he said, that all this preparation takes you to a different kind of world, that's why we have chosen this, I think, profession, you know, because we want to take ourselves in that world and see how we are, how we behave in that scenario. And I think that really helps in the process. And when you go and shoot, it's very, it becomes very naturally to you, you know. It's not a preparation kind of thing because you have done that bit.
You just be, I guess, something.
Yeah, as Shriya said.
But putting aside the character for a second, Shriya, something you've said in an interview which you just said as well, you said that you discovered the hard way that acting is not just about talent, that's one part of it. There is also the perception, the brand building, navigating social media, navigating the PR machinery. So is that frustrating, and how do all of you navigate that part of it? Kathir, will start with you.
I mean, there's no other option. You'll have to go through it.
Necessary evil.
Yeah. I mean, after a point, after my second film called Kirmi, I mean, I was expecting it to be very good because everyone in the industry saw it, and that was one of the first films which came up in South with a grey shaded one. So I thought it's going to do wonders, yeah, as we expect. After that film, as it didn't do good, as you said, like your film with Shah Rukh Khan sir, then I lost hope. Then I was like, okay, what we are going to do, we are going to do. And Sulal, even Pariyaram Perumal, when I was doing, I didn't have a hope that it is going to do wonders. I thought, okay, this film, this character is going to get a satisfaction and a good name for what I'm doing. That's it. Then wonders, whenever it is happening, let it happen. That's the, yeah.
What about the rest of you? How do you navigate
The
that?
PR.
PR, the machinery, the
I
packaging?
am so bad at it. I hardly have any followers.
Honestly, I find it boring. I find it very boring. I find social media very boring. I find all of the things that are actually important to promote yourself boring. I always thought that just good work is enough, which is also not entirely false.
Yeah.
But then it's like a setup that even if you don't like it, you'll end up doing it. You'll end up doing it, which is I've just started now, but I really find it very boring and completely unnecessary. And so I just focus on working more. Let that be my PR than the PR.
Actually, that's the most ideal situation. If no matter how much PR you do or whatever it is that you do, nothing but good work will actually get you to people's heart, and good work brings good work. I really believe in that.
Yeah.
That does
I
happen.
want to be mysterious. I don't want to tell everything about myself to everybody.
I feel like that's such a missing piece these days.
Yeah, it's like you
Overexposed.
Yeah, it's
I don't like to tell about my personal life to people at all. I don't like where
so
I'm
don't
going.
ask any questions.
That's my next question.
No, in the sense what I'm drinking, what I'm wearing, I sort of detest posing. I have chosen this profession because I'm interested in somebody else's life. I'm portraying a character.
Yeah.
I'm bored with myself. I'm very boring in my own life. And
But does that not limit the opportunity? Because when streaming first started, the OTT explosion, it really was about championing talent, and it clearly is doing that far better than the big screen, putting talent first. But a lot of actors in recent years have talked about how there has been a bit of a star system that's set into the OTT space. A lot of actors have been replaced because their social media following wasn't high enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually talked to an executive at a streaming platform, and he did say there is a lot of value more than ever about known faces. So how do you deal with that? Because it is part and parcel of getting the next opportunity.
They can walk off. This is actually very tricky. It's a valid question, because if, say, for example, a social media starlet or whatever, has 11 million followers, and they give her the leading role, and nobody watches her.
Yeah.
But and it's actually true in most of the cases.
It's happening.
It's actually true. So there's no crash. So one guy actually did say this to me. You have about 60,000 followers and this and that, and why are you asking for so much money? I said, मेरी मर्जी यार, मेरी मर्जी. तुम्हें देना नहीं दो, तुम दे सकते हो पैसे दे दो, नहीं दे
They're
सकते हो.
equating it to the following.
That's really disturbing.
But that's
That
like
is
more like
the-
it sounds more like a negotiating tactic, because I don't believe in that at all. I mean, it would have people can look at following, and it's not bad to have great following. It's great. We all like that. A part of I think it's a part of the profession is that you have that kind of connect with the audience, which is great. I also think that it's when it comes to social media and PR, it is integral in the sense because it genuinely is in a way. As long as you're not, like she said, going overboard, because there are times I want to connect with, talk about my work. This is what I'm going through. My audience is as close to me as my family is or my friends are. Yeah, I remember the time, we used to perform every time, like before getting on stage or after the stage, we'd have an interaction. It's just grown now. And I want to go out and talk to them, tell them, get a feedback, all of that. Social media does that in a different sense because it's direct. And it's more like about the connection. But then I also feel that there's a time for it.
Yeah.
If you invested in it more than your craft, your core work, that's something that I don't relate to.
The one thing I will say is that I think social media helps in a way in the sense to express myself or to highlight an aspect of my personality that perhaps the audience has not seen. For example, if I want to play a part that perhaps might be glamorous or have a different look that I'm not getting the opportunity to do, I know that people are going onto my social media to say, "Acha, ये ऐसे भी लग सकती है या ये ऐसे भी लग सकती है."
So
in that sense, the spoon feeding aspect is required through which you use social media
can't
for
be
that.
very
I think it depends on your personality.
Yeah.
It depends
Correct.
on what you want.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Some people can do it, some people can't do
Yeah.
it. It's not.
I
not.
love it. I love my social media, and I really believe that it's the nature of the beast. If I have been given the opportunity to reach out, to a million people or more or less, I think that I should use it. And I think that on days that I don't enjoy it, I remind myself that nothing goes to waste. Nothing you do goes to waste. And every little thing that you do, even in the moment that you didn't enjoy it, will come of use at some point. I remember when my mother didn't have work, she put out a message on social media. She said, "I'm a national award-winning actor. Please give me work. I live in Mumbai." That's what started the sort of second lease of life that she got.
Second
So
innings.
I just think you have to use it to the point where it works for you. Drop it to the point where it doesn't work for you. But I do think it's the nature of the beast.
I saw a reel recently, ironically, and it was an excerpt of an interview with Pankaj Tripathi, and he said something
Yes.
like, "We're all unpaid employees of social
Correct.
media," which I thought was
Which
quite
is true.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of social media, the other aspect of having streaming shows is because are no box office numbers and there are no numbers. I mean, there are some numbers thrown around, which I think is beneficial also. How do you then deem the success of any one of these shows? Is it reviews? Is it social media responses? Or does it not matter? How do you know if it's a success?
It beats me, man. I always ask this question to myself. It beats me because I am mostly on all OTT platforms.
Yeah.
And it's very self-proclamatory. They'll all say this is number one right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how they come to that deduction, but
But you want to know.
I don't want to know. I have no idea. But I mean, you watch a show, you know that this is a good show.
So basically, if someone wants to make a number one show, they need to cast you because all your shows become number one.
Yeah, man, it's true.
That's good.
I
That's
think
good.
you, Shriya, and Geetanjali are 3 streaming veterans. I think you've been on multiple platforms.
Veteran. Oh God.
Actually, recently when I did Rangbaz, I asked the channel person, and it's the same question: how do you decide that it's number one? So she said that whether that show has increased the number of subscription. How many?
There are methods
there
to
are
it.
methods,
There are methods to it.
and you get to know because now I'm entering.
But they'll
Gullak
never
season-
disclose it to anybody.
Of course.
Yeah, they'll never share.
But now I'm entering Gullak season 4, so I know that it's a hit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have.
So is it just that, like, if you've been, if you've got another season coming, it's a hit? That's
Yeah.
That's
And
not
also the
always
budget.
the case.
With the first budget, I mean, for the first season,
See,
you
I
get
think-
a certain number
Yeah,
of
if the budget goes up,
If
then-
the budget goes up, yeah.
Yeah, because Taj Mahal 1989, so many people like it, but we couldn't do the second season.
it's a wonderful,
Oh,
very
really?
interesting
Yeah,
show.
we couldn't because it didn't have that kind of numbers. So numbers do play a part.
It's a very unique and interesting
Yeah,
show.
I
it's
think-
a beautiful series. But again, see, the second season didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, it's very easy to get stuck in that echo chamber. That's why they say इस industry में दिमाग बहुत जल्दी खराब होता है because you think that you've done something and the 15 people or the 500 people following you on social media have propped you up and made you believe that you are the next big thing. And I remember I was talking to this actor long back and, they told me that, listen, I had the biggest hit of the season. Eventually, I went back home by local train and no one recognized me. So imagine how it plays on your mental space, right? Because you think, I have a hit, there will be a line outside my door, I will have 10 endorsements, I will have 15 managers and 12 PR people. It's true, guys, that's how many people it takes. And there's nothing. You're just sitting there waiting on the next opportunity. So that echo chamber, you have to actively break away from it and find out what people are actually saying.
I only want
Get it,
people to
right.
queue up to just give me more work, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cheers to that.
Just keep giving me good work.
Amit, with your shows, with Suzhal, with Masaba, even with Gullak, with Masaba, sorry, these shows are kind of designed to binge. You know, it's in the DNA because they're either very gripping or, you know, you just want to stay with them. So does it ever annoy you guys that you have worked for these shows for maybe months, sometimes a year at a time, and as soon as they've dropped, 3 hours later, somebody's tweeting saying, done it. And they've watched it on their phone.
It's not only done it, man. It's like, when is Maharani season 2?
Two.
I said, what?
Season 2 when? Mirzapur when?
Absolutely.
Yeah, please. Mirzapur season 3 when?
Well,
when?
guys, 1 second.
They're shooting it.
I'm a ghost now, so don't ask the ones who are dead.
हमें क्या
Ask
पता?
the ones who are
I
alive.
was अभी स्वीटी आएगी season 2 में अभी आएगी आती है
फैन थियरीज थे कि किस तरह से पुनर्जन्म हो सकता है. I said नहीं, मेरे दूसरे शोज को देखो अभी. वो खत्म हो गया.
मिर्जापुर में हो सकता है they can create स्वीटी की कोई बहन वो आ गई
मुझे भी बोला गया मिर्जापुर 3 में. नहीं, मिर्जापुर 3 में नहीं हो. अब की बार उन्होंने सीने में गोली मारी, दिल में, ताकि बच ही नहीं सके.
So certain shows have that cult value. I'll agree, right? So of course Mirzapur is one of those shows. आप कितना भी काम करें, this is a name that will keep coming up, and fair enough. I mean, it's given
Yeah,
the
of
cast
course.
members so much love. So that's also an indication of
Yeah.
the success of something.
But does it ever annoy you that somebody is just binge watching this on their phone and within hours, you know, what you've created is just over and they've said, you know, does that ever get to you or does it not matter how they're watching?
It feels nice. man.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
I feel good. As long as they're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it was devised for that.
And they're watching it continuously.
And
I'd
as
rather
long
that.
as they have a takeaway from it.
Yeah, it's reassuring actually. It's very
Something.
reassuring.
We spoke to Tripti Dimri in 2020. She had a release called Bulbul, which was a wonderful film. And she spoke about how after her film Laila Majnu came out, it really didn't do much for her. You know, it didn't sort of have the audience. And, you know, the offers stopped coming her way. And after Bulbul, which was a wonderful film, it was very successful on Netflix as well, we spoke to her and she said, I just don't want people to forget me again. So I want to ask all of you, you know, you've obviously had your own journeys to get to this place. You've obviously seen success. You know, you've given these wonderful performances, but does that ever, is that fear ever there that I just don't want people to forget me or I don't want the office to
I
stop?
won't let them forget me.
Yeah.
क्या बात है भाई
That's
I
it.
won't. But that's the whole crux of it, no? That's the whole struggle of it. That this is why you want to keep working. You know, it's an association with your audience, and you really need to strive for it, and you know, be at it at all times. And if not this, then what should we do, man? Like this is what we.
There's always a thing
But it comes-
between quantity and quality of films. Also, we do. Generally, if I tend to take like more time, maybe and now like last 3 months I was traveling, so it is not like I wanted to work for the next thing. If I'm having a film to release after that, then I just wanted to take it slow until a good one comes. If we are running behind the quantity, then I think we'll lose the quality.
Man, I was going to say that I've sat at home for so many years without work that I don't want to sit at home anymore. You know? It's
So when's
sad.
Maharani season 3?
Maharani season 3 when?
Hashtag up.
Next interview. Let me entice you, to take another interview.
I'm more scared of myself rather than people forgetting me. I'm more scared that the amount of work we do, I do one thing at a time mostly, but still I get scared that maybe, you know, this so much of content is coming and, you know, I feel that I shouldn't quit. I'm more scared of myself because
We won't let you.
Or you feel like getting burnt out, you know?
yeah, but just not just with my work, you know, bombarding of so much of work.
Information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, the audience, you wonder, there is so much to watch all the time. The fear is always you don't want to be part of things that get lost. Because when you put your heart and soul into something, there's nothing worse than people not even knowing the name of your show.
Correct.
Or just know information. I'd rather someone not like it than someone
Nowadays they
not watch
forget
it.
your name. They're like, where have I seen you? Seen you somewhere.
मैंने आपको कहाँ देखा है? This
We'll have to
question.
introduce ourselves.
Yes. Where? Then we have to keep like naming shows here.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
acha there.
No,
Have
just-
you ever asked for a picture, but they don't know who you are, but they want the
Like,
picture because
you
they know?
look like somebody, can we take a selfie? I said, okay.
Sometimes I experience something very interesting, like mostly at the airport. This guy is just staring at you. देख रहा है आएगा नहीं आएगा क्या चाहता क्या है
Then do you go like
खुद ही
पाताल
पूछना पड़ता
लोक?
फोटो लेनी है क्या यार जल्दी लेना यार
No, he's trying to place कहीं देखा है इसको I'm at that
हाँ
stage
हाँ हाँ वही वही
मेरे लिए थोड़ा सा ना इजी हो गया है जैसे रोल किया ना मैंने जैसे मैंने कैरेक्टर्स प्ले किए हैं विलन वाले
They keep
So
a
they do
distance.
anything.
तो लोगों को डर लगता है कि ये ऐसे ही होगा यार
You know, Sachin, I wanted to comment on what you said earlier, and it's very interesting what Amit said. You know, let them forget me. I think I also came from that kind of wiring because I just had that. I'm talented, no? I'm good at my job. I'm hardworking. Things will come my way. People will come my way. If they want me, they'll find me. But I've changed that wiring of late. I've become shameless, and I have, like, just 2 days back, I put a list together, and I told my manager, let's put a list together of people, producers, directors, casting directors, everybody that we have to reach out to, and I will go meet them. I will say I want to audition because the thing is, people also sometimes think you're not willing to do that audition.
They make assumptions about.
Correct.
Yeah,
Or they
that's
think,
very
"Oh,
common.
khush hai, she's done her little show, she's got her own business, it's fine." I don't want them to think I'm content. I want them to say, I want to ask for what I deserve and I want to put it on the table. So I think I've changed my wiring in the last 2-3 years. I would say actually in the middle of the pandemic where I said, you know what? I'm not going to be that shy, underconfident person anymore. I will go ask for work. If it's not coming my way, I will knock on every door.
Kathir, I think I read an interview of yours where you said something similar where you said, if I want to work with someone, I will go to
Even
them.
Pariyar and Perumal happened that
Yeah.
way.
Which is a fantastic.
Yeah. And I have a problem if the film is a hit or a blockbuster, whatever it is, the film is doing good. We get same kind of roles, and and they think like, okay, they've done that, they'll be ready to do this also.
Yeah.
But we wanted to just step back and do a different thing, which excites us and also the people who are watching it. But that is a break which happens after every hit. Even after Sulil, this 3 months, I am stepping back to figure out. I wanted to do something new, not again a cop. And it's
Tell me about it, man. Just playing a cop all the time.
That's the biggest challenge. It truly is the biggest challenge
Yeah.
to be able to you create that for yourself. You know get appreciated for it, and then you spend your time breaking it.
Yeah.
You want to break it. You want to be seen for something different, and that is always a struggle.
I have something very interesting to share. It's not about this.
Yeah, please.
It's just on. So this, I remember I was rehearsing for a play in Oshiwara somewhere, and so my assistant came and he said, Amit, there's somebody to meet you. I think he's from your city. And I said, yeah. किसी का जान पहचान का कोई छोटा भाई है वो एक्टिंग करना चाहता है तो आया मिलने और उसने इतना रबिश सवाल पूछा ना मुझसे कि भैया मैं ना 1 साल लेके आया हूँ यहाँ पे तो 1 साल में हो जाएगा क्या मैंने कहा देख 2 साल तो लगेंगे फिर उसके बाद आदत पड़ जाएगी
I love that. I love that.
तो इतना डिसहार्टेंड हो गया वो मैंने कहा कि क्या होता है 1 साल में संन्यास है बॉस है या तो अब ये है या कुछ नहीं है
And waiting is part of the game.
मतलब 1 साल में क्या हो जाएगा मतलब
But
1.5 साल तो बॉम्बे को ही समझने में लग गया था कि क्या हो क्या रहा है यार
Sannyas.
it's an uphill battle. No, but I think your point brings me perfectly to my final question, which is to all of you, what is the kind of role you're tired of getting offered, and is there a kind of role that you're raring to do? Kathir, I'll start with you.
The innocent guy. I just wanted to get over that, and I wanted to do more. I mean, I'm doing more emotional roles, but this innocent. I think I have a little innocent face, so I'm just growing all the hair and just to look some different way. So I just wanted to do a different kind of maybe a gangster, something like that, where it is larger than life, which I wanted to play also. Let's be a gangster in lifetime once.
So ये exchange
मेरा common man चल रहा है
Amit, for you, is it despicable people you're tired of playing, horrible people?
No, I'm not, because I find something groovy in it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's an actor's responsibility to do that.
Yeah.
You know, how can you hate your own character?
Yeah.
You can't play it then. So I'm in love with all of them. So right now I don't have anything in my head. I think I'll just let the magic happen.
Go with the flow. Shriya, what about you? Were you tired of getting offered?
Not tired again, I wouldn't use that word, but since I've played two characters who are slightly virtuous in that sense, I would like to perhaps also switch genres. I'm actively seeking film work as well to balance it out now. So luckily that's heading in a positive direction. So something which is a little more cinematic, a period drama maybe, and I love rom-coms. I don't think we make enough of rom-coms. So I'd love to do something like that. So yeah.
Are you also getting sort of a string of innocent offers, or?
I have for a whole lot of years, a long time. But the thing, I think for me, it's just about the writing, man. It's just about the writing. Doesn't matter.
मुझे लगता है तू विलन का बहुत अच्छा कर सकता है क्योंकि तू लगता नहीं है विलन.
हाँ, like Jim Moriarty, anti-casting really helps, I think, because जो लगता नहीं है जब वो बन जाता है.
चेहरे से नहीं लगता हूँ मैं विलन.
You can send all your offers to him.
Yeah, just swap.
Yeah, why not?
ये आपने परख लिया मेरी आंखें.
Yeah, we should exchange notes, guys. Next time you guys get a particular one.
I'm tired, you do it.
But like I said, I'm getting all mother roles, but all are different.
Yeah.
Like if you see mother from Rangbaz, she's different. Mother from Gullak is different. Mother from War Room is completely different. So all playing mother, but different shades. So as Shriya said, I'm not getting tired at all. But at the same time, I feel that I want to play a role from a different class. Like a maybe more glamorous role or a more
larger than
elite
life
class.
right?
So वो middle class का zone जो है वो I think I've explored a lot. Or a class, lower middle class. But I would like to explore that glamorous or elite class, which can be fun doing.
Masaba, final word to you.
Well, I'm the beginner, man. Whatever comes my way, I'd be very happy. I'm waiting to get tired of being offered too many things of the same kind. But I'll just say that it would be nice to, understand that actors are chameleons by nature and that anybody can play anything. And I think what happens is sometimes you get typecast because of who you are in real life, how you dress in real life, how you look. And people think that's all you
Or their perception of it.
Or their perception, which is worse. Like with me, people think I can't speak Hindi or they thought I couldn't speak Hindi. But मैं फूल को फूल बोलती हूँ.
Nice.
Please give me that credit that my Hindi is very good and that I do justice. So whatever, the thing is, I think you have to see it in a way that, or at least I see it in a way that if there's a role that I feel I can't do, then I'll work hard enough to make sure I can do it. But if there's something I can inherently do, I'd like to be offered that. But I'd like to be given the credit that I can work hard enough to break that barrier and move forward with it. So I guess that's my take.
Fingers crossed. But thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you for these performances and for these stories. And I think more than anything, it really speaks to the diversity of what's on streaming. If you just look at all of your shows and projects, we have love stories, and sort of these comedy dramas, like crime dramas and heavy hitting dramas. And it really is such a rich variety. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to everything you guys do in future.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.